Good evening, everyone. I think we can get underway. Welcome to the Council meeting of Monday the 20th of November 2023. To commence, we will read an acknowledgement of country and I call upon Councillor Franco to do so.
Thank you, Mayor. I acknowledge the Wurundjeri Woiwurrung people as the traditional owners and original custodians of this land and pay my respects to their elders, past and present, and the elders from other communities who may be here today. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome everyone to tonight's council meeting. My name is Councillor Felicity Sinfield and I am the Mayor of the City of Boroondara for the very last day. I'll start by introducing my fellow councillors seated at the horseshoe table. To my left, Councillor Jim Park, Councillor Cynthia Watson, Councillor Nick Stavru, Councillor Wes Galt and Councillor Di Gillies. And on the other side, Councillor Lisa Hollingsworth, our Deputy Mayor, Councillor Gary Thompson, Councillor Jane Addis, Councillor Susan Bigger and Councillor Victor Franco. Before we get further underway, I request that all mobile telephones are switched off or turned to silent, please. The council meeting is being live streamed on the council website, so you can watch the proceedings of the meeting, councillor deliberations and voting. The purpose of this meeting is for the council to elect the Mayor, Deputy Mayor, chairpersons of the delegated committees and to appoint councillors to committees for the 23-24 year ahead. I would like to take this moment to thank everyone for their support over the past year. It has been an absolute privilege to lead the organisation for the last 12 months and I've thoroughly enjoyed doing so. So thank you, and thank you to Deputy Mayor Lisa Hollingsworth for her support over the last 12 months as well. In accordance with the Local Government Act 2020 and Council's governance rules, I must vacate the position of Mayor at the time and on the day of the election of the next Mayor. So I will now hand over the meeting to the Chief Executive Officer, Mr Philip Storer, who's seated to my right, who will become the temporary chair of the meeting. Thank you, Mr Storer.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I might begin with apologies. Mrs Ritchie, are there any apologies for this evening's meeting?
Thank you. There are no apologies for tonight's meeting.
Thank you. Perhaps turning now to the declaration of conflict of interest of any councillor or any council officer. Are there any conflicts of interest anyone would wish to declare? There being none, I will now proceed. So at that stage, councillors, where we're now going to deal with the election of the Mayor. There is, however, one step we need to take in advance, which is to ensure that we determine the period of time which will apply to the mayoral term. In this particular case, of course, we're coming up to a general election, which means that the mayoral term, which in other circumstances could be as long as 2 years, can really only practically be for the 1 year. So I guess what I'm seeking is a councillor who would be willing to move a motion to the effect of the one shown on the screen. Is anyone so willing? Councillor Addis.
I'm happy to so move. Thank you.
And Councillor Bigger, seconding.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Is anyone opposed? There being no one opposed, I'm assuming now the councillor wishes to speak to the matter, in which case I might simply put that motion and declare it to be carried. That being the case, I'd like now to move to the interesting part of this evening, which is going to be the election of the Mayor. And it might be worth just covering off a couple of the rules, if you like, which need to apply to how we do this, just to refresh the minds of councillors and also those who may be watching the meeting. The first of those is to note that all councillors are required to vote if they are in attendance, so the ability to abstain is not available to councillors in this particular case. All councillors must also vote for a nominated candidate, not for anybody who's not actually nominated. And I guess the other point to make in relation to the requirements we need to meet is that when it comes to the selection of the appropriate Mayor, essentially what we need to do is to invite nominations, which I intend to do. Once I've got all the nominations from councillors, I will then be asking for councillors to indicate their support for each individual nominee. We will then obtain the number of votes each candidate has accrued, and the process is that you need at least 6 votes to be elected mayor at the City of Boroondara. It's an absolute majority of 6. If we have more than 2 candidates, and we therefore have candidates who may well achieve an equal lowest number of votes, the means by which that is dealt with is the drawing of lots. So those candidates with the equal lowest number of votes will have their name placed in a receptacle. They will be asked to draw out of that receptacle pieces of paper, one of which will have the word defeated written on it, and that councillor will therefore no longer continue in the process. That is in accordance with council's governance rules. So that's going to be the process that you'll be engaged in tonight, and I look forward to getting that started, which I will do now. So can I please ask for nominations to the role of Mayor? Councillor Galt. Pardon? I can't see that screen. Thank you. Councillor Thompson, you actually got in first according to the screen.
Nominate Councillor Watson.
Councillor Watson. Councillor Watson, are you comfortable accepting the nomination?
I am, thank you, Mr. Storer.
Thank you. Is there a seconder? Councillor Addis, you're seconding. Thank you. Further nominations? Who else have we got on that list? Councillor Biggar?
Yes, I'd like to nominate Councillor Galt.
Galt. Councillor Galt, are you happy to accept the nomination?
Happy to accept the nomination, Chair.
Thank you. Is there a seconder? Councillor? No? Is there a seconder?
I'll second the nomination.
Thank you. Councillor Franco. Further nominations? Councillor Park.
Not sure whether to nominate the balance of councillors or just one. So I'll nominate Councillor Stavro at this stage.
Councillor Stavro, thank you. Councillor Stavro, are you happy to accept the nomination?
I accept.
Thank you. Is there a seconder? There would appear not to be. Oh, sorry.
Can I
Councillor
second?
Hollingsworth?
I'm happy to second the nomination.
Okay, thank you. Councillors, are there any further nominations? It would appear not to. Oh, Councillor Hollingsworth.
I nominate myself.
You're nominating yourself. Is there a seconder?
Yes, I'll second that.
Councillor Sinfield, thank you. Okay, are there any further nominations? There do not appear to be any further nominations. That being the case, what I would like to do is to allow each of the candidates nominated to speak for up to 3 minutes to their colleagues in support of their candidacy for the role of Mayor. I'll begin with Councillor Watson as the first nominated councillor.
Thank you, Mr. Storer. Good evening, councillors. The Boroondara community is why I'm here today. I have served for over 23 years, the past 7 as a councillor. The community has always been the heart of my service. Having served as Mayor in 2019-20, I bring experience to the role. The year I served as Mayor was like no other, as it was the first year of the COVID-19 pandemic. As Mayor, I successfully worked with my fellow councillors and the CEO in a very challenging environment. We created new ways for service delivery, helped people stay connected, and above all, found ways to reach those who were suffering with the impact of lockdowns on their well-being. It was a tough year, but we got through it together. During my term as Mayor, Council achieved several important outcomes for our community. 1, Boroondara led the coalition of councils affected by the North East Link and got better compensation from the state government. 2, the removal of Amendment C299, which saw bulldozers free to graze on our heritage property while the state government tried to and failed to heritage list the Eastern Freeway. 3, I move the motion for the Climate Action Plan, which now has an implementation plan. I believe our community is facing some unique and difficult challenges. The ability for our community to be heard and for Council to advocate on their behalf is diminished by state government changes to planning legislation. There are some difficult conversations ahead and strong strategic leadership for our community is required. I believe that I have the experience to work with my fellow councillors and provide the skills needed at this time. At this stage of the council term, we all know each other very well. You know my leadership and work ethics, so in one sense, what else can I say? If elected to the office of Mayor, I will show gratitude for the contribution each of you make through your service. Trust that you are focused on the community in your decision making. Respect your point of view. Exercise restraint tempered by wisdom when there is a need to pause and reflect, and I will always respect the will of Council. If I receive your confidence tonight to serve again as the Mayor of Burundara, I will continue to do my best and trust that you will assist me along the way as I will assist you. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Watson. I'll now turn to Councillor Gold as the next nominated councillor.
Thank you, Chair. A number of years ago, we sold a consultancy practice and I started a small consultancy. At that time, I realised I had time to put into the community and determined to do so. I did a lot of reading in that time, and one of my major aims was to do something about the climate crisis that was facing us. That was one of the key reasons I stood for council. In the first year of council, there was major strides made and it established a climate action plan and an implementation plan, which was fantastic. But throughout that year, I was developing interest in a range of other things that I found very exciting. The Glenferrie precinct, planning, heritage, housing strategies, but simply being able to help the residents in our community. Because I found that being a councillor and Burundara Council is a very special, privileged position. I turn now to the potential position of Mayor, and when thinking through that, in my mind, there was two clear areas you need expertise and skills in. First was chairing meetings. I freely admit I haven't chaired an urban planning meeting yet, so there's a no on that, but I have chaired quite a number of advisory committee meetings within council. I did chair one services meeting one night, which I enjoyed greatly. But in the decades leading up to that, I did chair board meetings in Australia and Asia, and I ran many steering committees, ministerial steering committees up the east coast of Australia. The second major factor is representing council in the public arena. And I did have the joy of a year of working with Councillor Addis as Deputy Mayor, and I think I got a lot of exposure to the community at that time. And since I have been a councillor, I've had meetings at least monthly with my community. I'd also take the liberty to point out another recent achievement. As a council, we voted $1 million for climate change action, but no more. And I also don't believe we as a council need any more to do the things we need to do. And most of us look towards the community to do the rest of the work required. So I had great joy over the last year helping give birth to a community alliance. It now has a huge number of volunteers working with it. Volunteers this council simply could not afford to employ independently. So it was great to see the community and parliamentary representatives work together. So tonight, I'd like to commit to three things. If appointed to act as Mayor from Burundara, I will work tirelessly at that. I will not be sitting in any tickets for electoral parties, and I will not be focusing on elections till nearly the caretaker period. And the second was I will not be using any work on council for a stepping stone to any other position. I'm focused and dedicated to this
Councillor Gold, your time has expired. Do you have one final point?
If appointed, I'd be honoured to have the opportunity to serve Burundara as Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'd like now to invite Councillor Stavrou.
Good evening, colleagues. Today I stand before you with a profound sense of commitment to our community and a clear vision for the challenges that await us in the final year of our term. As we approach this pivotal moment, I believe that with your support, I am the right candidate to guide us through this period, this crucial period, with grace and effectiveness. We are confronted with complex issues ranging from local concerns of planning to broader challenges such as climate change and reconciliation. In navigating these, it is crucial that our leadership embodies moderation and collaboration that goes beyond our comfort zones. I'm proud to share my unwavering dedication to these principles and having consistently sought common ground and fostered collaboration throughout my tenure as councillor. Moreover, I bring a unique perspective as a sole mayoral candidate of non-English speaking background. Our municipality is a vibrant tapestry with 44% of residents having both parents born overseas and 1 in 3 speaking a language other than English. It is essential that our leadership reflects this diversity, ensuring that the needs and perspectives of all residents, especially those from different backgrounds, are not only heard, but also see that they can achieve leadership roles. On critical issues like planning, climate change and reconciliation, I will approach them, as I already have, with a deep sense of responsibility and a collaborative spirit. These challenges extend beyond municipal boundaries, requiring cooperative approaches that reach out to many communities outside our municipality for real solutions. I pledge to lead our council in a manner that fosters open dialogue and values diverse perspectives and respect for all, and first and foremost, our community. In acknowledging the great strides that this council has made in previous terms, I aim not to diminish our achievements, but to always emphasise the need for continuous improvement. My commitment is to represent all of you, transcending strict party lines, activist or personal perspectives, as evidenced by my voting record in the past 3 years. I humbly ask you for your vote to serve as your mayor. Together, we can navigate the complexities ahead, embracing a moderate and collaborative approach that respects both our residents and fellow councillors. With your support, I'm sure we can build a more resilient and stronger community for all. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you, Councillor Stavrou. And finally, I'd like to invite Councillor Hollingsworth to address her colleague.
Thank you, Mr Storer. Good evening, colleagues. After 7 years as a councillor and the last year as Deputy Mayor, I seek your support to become the Mayor of Boroondara. Throughout my service on council, I have and continue to develop strong and meaningful relations with colleagues, our community and council senior leadership team. I respectfully abide by the oath of office to undertake duties vested in me, representing the best interest of our engaged and diverse community, faithfully, impartially and responsibly. I have a sound understanding of good governance protocols, public policies, operational practices and political etiquette. I am apolitical and regularly attend in-house meetings with our elected representatives and actively participate in roundtable discussions, appealing to our parliamentary colleagues to seek their support for grant funding to aid Council's ability to deliver vital priority projects as we continue to navigate challenging economic conditions, fiscally responsible and acutely mindful of budgetary constraints. I have demonstrated that I am a hard-working, competent, respectful and enthusiastic spokesperson and chair. I serve on numerous advisory committees in my capacity as councillor and as a director on an external board. I was appointed Boroondara's MAV delegate for 4 consecutive years and routinely presented at state and national conferences to put forward and to robustly debate the merits of motions that have led to significant beneficial outcomes for the betterment of metro and regional communities. As a passionate environmentalist, I have lobbied for the state government to relax the imposed electric power line clearance legislative controls in an endeavour to conserve our highly valued nature strip trees that epitomise the essence of Boroondara. Through affiliation with Disability Sport and Recreation, I was an integral member of the working group that established the AFL wheelchair sport, first played at the Boroondara Sports Complex in 2018. The evolution of this sport has been transformational for many men, women and youth of diverse cohorts, providing life-changing and, most importantly, life-saving health and wellbeing benefits. I have been an active proponent for diversity inclusion, addressing the imbalance of gender and DDA compliance in our ageing sports facilities, and have consistently supported their renewal. And in closing, we are a resilient and proficient team of 11 councillors. We have initiated and implemented innovative, collaborative and aspirational strategic objectives to care for our climate, to care for our heritage and to progress proactive relations with our First Nations people. We have achieved a lot. We have more to do. If elected as Mayor, I am committed to work with you to strengthen our resolve to build a long-lasting legacy for our community and for future councils. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Hollingsworth. Now I'm going to invite councillors to vote for each of the 4 candidates. I'm going to go through the candidates in order in which they were nominated, and once we understand the support level for each candidate, we can then make choices from there as to how we get to at least 6 votes, assuming that doesn't happen in the first pass. So, councillors, I'm actually going to therefore ask for those who support Councillor Watson. So I'm going to call this out so there is no misunderstanding. So Councillor Watson, Councillor Gillies, Councillor Thompson and Councillor Addis. Councillor Galt, Councillor Biggar and Councillor Galt, that's 2, thank you. Councillor Stavro, 2, thank you. That's Councillor Park and Councillor Stavro. And Councillor Hollingsworth. That's the Mayor, Councillor Sinfield, Councillor Hollingsworth and Councillor Franco. Thank you. So, councillors, that leaves us with 2 councillors with the equal lowest number of votes, being Councillor Galt and Councillor Stavro. Have 2 votes each. What that means is that the governance rules will require you to draw lots in relation to the next roll from here. So we're going to ask you to do that. There will be 2 pieces of paper placed in a receptacle. I'm going to ask you each to draw 1 piece of paper. One of those pieces of paper will have the word defeated written on it. And if that is the case, that means you are no longer eligible to remain as a nominated candidate. So we're just getting that organised for you now. Yeah. If you could please just come up to the front to draw a piece of paper. Thank you, both of you, yes, thank you. And one of you will have the word defeated written on that piece of paper. If you wouldn't mind disclosing who has that, please. Councillor Galt, thank you. Commiserations, Councillor Galt. That means that you are no longer in the vote for the mayoralty. So Councillor Stavro continues. So what I'm going to do now is to do another round of voting. That will involve Councillor Watson, Councillor Stavro and Councillor Hollingsworth. So I'll again go through the order in which candidates were nominated and again seek votes for Councillor Watson. Councillor Watson, Councillor Gillies, Councillor Addis and Councillor Thompson. That remains at 4. I'll now turn to Councillor Stavro. Those in favour of Councillor Stavro? That is 1. And now Councillor Hollingsworth. Councillor Park, Councillor Sinfield, Councillor Hollingsworth, Councillor Franco and Councillor Biggar. Can I just see that again, please? Councillor Park, did you have, I thought you had your hand up. Sorry, I missed it when you took it down. Yes, I did. That's right. Thank you. Okay, councillors, that looks to me like 6 votes. Councillor, congratulations. Congratulations, Councillor Hollingsworth. Now, I'm going to ask you to come up the front. Sorry, Councillor Sinfield. I'm going to ask you to come up the front. So, Councillor Sinfield, as previous Mayor, can put the noose, the councillor chains, around your neck. So would you like to come up to the front, please? Thank you very much, councillors. This is where I will exit the scene, but what I'd like to do is suggest that we have a 5-minute break so that Councillor Hollingsworth can just be taken through the rest of the meeting as it needs to proceed, because she now chairs the balance of this meeting for the election of the Deputy Mayor, Chairs and for the councillor assignments. So perhaps we could just have some time to do that. That would be helpful. Councillor Park?
I'll move an adjournment, Mr Storer.
And
Thank
seconded.
you.
Happy to second.
Thank you very much. Anyone opposed? There being no one in opposition, I will declare that carried. So we'll have an adjournment for 5 minutes and we'll take Councillor Hollingsworth through the agenda for the balance of the evening. Thank you.
Councillors, if you could please be seated. I seek a motion to resume. Thank you. Councillor Park?
So moved.
And Councillor Stavry, thank you. All right, the next...
To the vote.
Sorry, can I please ask you all put that to the vote to resume? Thank you. Thank you. We are now up to the election of the Deputy Mayor for the 2023-24 year. Councillors, I'm in seek of nominations for Deputy Mayor. Councillor Sinfield.
Yes, I'll nominate myself. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. And do we have a seconder? Councillor Franco?
No, I'm not seconding.
All right. Councillor Addis?
Oh, sorry.
No. Sorry, do we have a seconder? Excuse me for a moment. All right. I will actually second Councillor Sinfield's motion. Thank you. Do we have another nomination? Councillor Addis?
I'm nominating Councillor Gillies.
Thank you. And do we have a seconder? Councillor Thompson? Thank you. Any other nominations? Councillor Franco?
I'll nominate myself.
Thank you. And a seconder? Councillor Biggar. Thank you. All right. So we will go through the first nominated. Sorry, Councillor Park.
Nominate as well.
Yes, thank you. And do we have a seconder?
I'm happy to second that.
Thank you. Okay. So the first nominated was Councillor Sinfield. Can I ask if you all please show your hands of support for Councillor Sinfield? That is 2. Thank you. Councillor Gillies, can I ask for a show of hands, please? All right, that is Councillor Watson, Councillor Galt, Councillor Gillies, Councillor Thompson and Councillor Addis. So that is 5. Councillor Franco, can I see a show of hands for Councillor Franco? That's Councillor Biggar and Councillor Franco, 2. And Councillor Park? That is two. So we're in a situation now where we do have two candidates with 2 votes each. So we will go into the ballot.
Yep, it's for 3.
And
There's only one that's defeated, and then 2 at 1.
first was Councillor Sinfield. Oh, by surname? Okay, Councillor Franco. Councillor Park. And Councillor Sinfield. Councillor Franco.
Mine was defeated, yes.
Is defeated, thank you. All right, so now we'll go through the show of hands again. We will start with Councillor Sinfield. If I could see your show of hands for support, please. That is 4. For Councillor Gillies, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Is that correct? Yeah, Councillor Watson, Councillor Galt, Councillor Gillies, Councillor Thompson, Councillor Addis. Sorry, that's only 5. Okay, sorry, that's only 5. And can I see a show of hands for Councillor Park? Okay, so...
That means Park's automatically out when we do a revote.
All right. So Councillor Park has not been successful. We will now do a revote. Can I see a show of hands for Councillor Sinfield? That's Councillor Park, Councillor Sinfield, Councillor Biggar, Councillor Franco and myself, Councillor Hollingsworth. Can I see a show of hands for Councillor...
Because that was 6.
Sorry, can I see a show of hands again for Councillor Sinfield? That's myself, Councillor Hollingsworth, Councillor Park, Councillor Stavrou, Councillor Sinfield, Councillor Biggar and Councillor Franco.
So she received the absolute majority.
So Councillor Sinfield has received the absolute majority. Well done. Thank you. Thank you. Bear with me, please.
So just turn the page. Easier from here. So now we need the chair for urban planning.
Councillors, we will now go on to the chair for urban planning. Can I see a show of hands for people who wish to nominate for that position? Councillor Park, Councillor Galt. Are there any other people nominating? No, thank you. All right, now we'll go through a show of hands. Those in support for Councillor Galt. That is Councillor Galt, Councillor Gillies, Councillor Thompson, Councillor Addis, Councillor Biggar, Councillor Franco. That is 6. That's correct. I declare that carried. Okay, Councillor Galt, congratulations. You are the Urban Planning Chair. Well done. We now move on to Services Delegated Committee. Can I see a show of hands for people nominating for that position?
So we still need to call for nominations. So can I have a nomination?
Can I see, yes, Councillor Stavrou, you're nominating for Services Delegated Committee. Do I have any other nominations?
You need a seconder.
Oh, sorry, I need to seek a seconder for that.
Happy to second.
Thank you. Is there any other nominations?
I'm happy to withdraw. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Addis. Are there any other nominations for Services Delegated Committee? There are none? Okay. Can I see a show of support then for Councillor Sinfield? Sorry, for Councillor Stavrou, sorry. Thank you. All right, congratulations, Councillor Stavrou. Well done, thank you. Thank you.
And so this time we need 2 councillors.
Yeah, okay. The next item on our agenda is Audit and Risk Committee membership for 2023-24. Yes. So I call for nominations for the Audit and Risk Committee. Can I ask Councillor Park? Are there any other nominations? Councillor Stavrou? Now, with Councillor Park, I seek a seconder to support his nomination. Councillor Sinfield, thank you. Councillor Stavrou, do I have a seconder for your nomination? Thank you, Councillor Watson. There are no other nominations. So the position is for 2 councillors, so I declare Councillor Park and Councillor have been successful in their nomination, and I ask for a show of hands to put that to the vote. Thank you. That is unanimous. Thank you. Councillors, the next item on the agenda is the assignments for 2023-24. Now, some has been prepared in preparation for this evening. With the councillor assignments, we do have at least 2 categories where no one has nominated. So before we move to support the assignments, I ask if there's anyone else that would like to put forward nominations that hasn't done so yet.
I haven't put forward my nominations, Chair, and I propose to stand for a number of the committees.
Right. Councillor Franco, with your indulgence and with councillors' indulgence, I just want to highlight we have 2 categories here where there's been no nominations. One of them is Category 4, Civic Awards Assessment Panel. So there is a position there for 2 candidates? 3 candidates, and also item, thank you, might be easier if I had hand copy to look at. Thank you. And the other item is the Metropolitan Transport Forum, which also requires 3 candidates. Which also requires, oh, sorry, just one councillor for that one. So I trust that other than Councillor Franco, the majority of you or all of you have put forward your nominations. I see Councillor Sinfield, you've got your light on.
Yes, I do. I was going to suggest that I might nominate Councillor Franco for the Metropolitan Transport Forum.
Right. Thank you. Councillor Franco, do you accept that nomination?
Yes, I do.
And do I have a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Stavrou. Can I see a show of hands for support?
Sorry, what are we voting on? Just
Actually, sorry, it's all right. We'll wait and do them all together. Sorry. All right, so the other item as mentioned before was Civic Awards Assessment Panel. Can I ask if there is any nominations for that so that we can include you on the list? Councillor Biggar?
Yes, I would like to nominate for that, but can I also just check, is it not possible for us to just maybe slowly go through the list to verify that they're correct, and that would give the opportunity for Councillor Franco.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. All right, we will work through the list now. All right, item one is the Waste Management Reference Group. We have nominations for that position from Councillor Gillies, Councillor Biggs, Councillor Sinfield and Councillor Galt. I just want to clarify that you're all satisfied with that. Councillor Sinfield?
I was just going to suggest that it may be of assistance if governance step through that the fact that we can have 4 for that committee, as with most of the delegated committees, there's a limit of 5 on them, so right. Most of them are squared away.
Yes. I'll just seek advice. Thank you.
Yeah, we just can't have the majority, so 5.
Yes. Governance have confirmed that 4 is adequate. Thank you. The next item is the Kew Recreation Centre Steering Committee. We have Councillor Park, Councillor Stavrou, Councillor Sinfield and Councillor Galt. Do you all accept those nominations? Thank you. Third item is Canterbury Community Precinct Steering Committee. We have Councillor Addis as the Ward Councillor, Councillor Watson and myself, Councillor Hollingsworth. There is no proposed change to that. Thank you. Item 4 is Civic Awards Assessment Panel. So Councillor Bigger, I believe you indicated you'd be interested in going on that. Is there any other nominations to go on the Civic Awards Assessment? Councillor Sinfield?
Yes, please.
And Councillor Park. Thank you. Next item is Transforming Burundara Steering Committee. We have Councillor Park, Councillor Gillies, Councillor Stavrou, Councillor Addis and myself, Councillor Hollingsworth. Now, if there's any other interest to go on this, I'm happy to withdraw. Councillor Sinfield?
Apologies, it was a legacy light, but it had occurred to me that we were going to have a short adjournment before stepping through these, and I don't know whether governance team would be assisted by doing that with standing orders suspended, or whether you would like to proceed the way we are.
Look, happy to keep going if...
I'm happy if you're happy.
Yeah, councillors, if you're happy to keep going, thank you. So is there any other interest in Transforming Burundara Steering Committee? No, we will leave it as is then. Next item is the Glenferrie Precinct Development Plan Advisory Committee. We have Councillor Thompson, Councillor Bigger, Councillor Sinfield, Councillor Stavrou and Councillor Galt. Are you all happy with your nominations there? And Councillor Franco?
I'd be interested in being on that committee, thank you.
Right. Now, is there a limit? Is there a maximum of 5? Yes. All right. Is there anyone that would like to withdraw their nomination?
Can I make a comment, Mayor? I don't think there is a limit. There's no limit written into the governance rules, I think, of that committee. I think it's just a practice we've had.
Councillor, Council did pass a resolution stating that there should not be more than 5, because if it is represented by 6 councillors, that's effectively the majority of council, which ultimately, to some degree, makes redundant a council decision which might then follow and be required. So there was a limit of 5 as a maximum, which was set by council decision.
Thank you. Well, look, unless somebody wants to, I'll withdraw my nomination for that committee. I'm happy to withdraw.
Thank you. Councillor Thompson?
I'm happy to withdraw if Councillor Franco would like to go in.
I'm happy for you to stay on. It's not...
It's your call.
You stay on. You nominated.
All right. Thank you, councillors. The next item is Burundara Urban Design Awards. We have Councillor Thompson, Councillor Hollingsworth, Councillor Gold and Councillor Watson. Again, I'm happy to withdraw my interest there.
Just a point of order, Madam Mayor, through you to the CEO. Does this actually occur in 2024, or is that not a councillor assignment for this year?
The Urban Design Award? I believe it's every year. Is it an alternate year?
So we
It
can
won't be
strike
required for next year. Thank you, Councillor Thompson.
Thank you. All right. Well, we will delete that. Thank you. The Climate Action Plan Advisory Committee, we have Councillor Addis, Councillor Hollingsworth, Councillor Bigger, Councillor Galton, Councillor Stathrew. Is there any other councillors interested? Councillor Franco?
Yes, I'd like to be on that committee.
Right. Look, I will step aside, okay, to allow you to have that. So thank you. If we could change that to Councillor Franco and remove Councillor Hollingsworth. Is everyone else happy with the nominations? Councillor Bigger?
Sorry, I was just going to offer to do the same thing, but that's fine.
Thank you. Next is the Cycling Advisory Committee. At this stage, we have Councillor Bigger. And Councillor Franco, would you like to nominate?
Yes, very much so.
Excellent. Any other nominations? No, thank you. I assume 2 councillors is enough for that committee, so thank you, Councillor Franco and Councillor Bigger. The next is the Heritage Advisory Committee. We have Councillor Gillies, Councillor Hollingsworth, Councillor Sinfield, and the Urban Planning Chair, that will be Councillor Galt. So that is 4 people. Was there anyone else interested in nominating for that? No? We'll leave that committee as is. The Gardeners Creek Master Plan Advisory Committee, we have Councillor Thompson, Councillor Bigger and Councillor Franco. Is there any other inclusions to go on that? Happy to leave as is? Thank you. The Burundara Reconciliation Advisory Committee, Councillor Gillies, Councillor Thompson, Councillor Watson and Councillor Stavrou. Now, I'll just seek advice. Is it only 4 that can be on that, or could it be 5? Could be 5. That can have up to 5 people on it. Is there any other nominations for the Reconciliation Advisory Committee? Councillor Bigger?
Just that on the printout that I have, I'm on there.
You nominated for that? Sorry?
I did, yeah. I've been deleted. But I'm happy, I know there's only 1 spot, so I'm happy for Councillor Franco to take that spot if that's where we are.
Yeah, Madam Mayor, I'm not sure why my name's on item 11, so that I think is an anomaly and that frees a space.
I've got a feeling we're working with 2 different lists. It's item 12 on mine, so, but it's the Reconciliation Advisory Committee, is that correct, Councillor Watson? So I'll remove your name. Councillor Gillies, you maintain your interest. Councillor Thompson, you maintain your interest to be on the Reconciliation Advisory Committee, yes. And Councillor Stavrou, correct? Okay, so Councillor Bigger, we'll include your name there. And Councillor Franco, we can have 5, so would you like to be on the committee?
Yes, thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. And I'm sure it would be all right for observers to attend on occasion. I might take that opportunity myself. Next one is the Camberwell Junction Precinct Advisory Committee. We have Councillor Gillies as the Ward Councillor, Councillor Thompson, Councillor Watson and Councillor Stavrou. Councillor Franco, would you like to nominate for that?
Yes, I'd like to be on that, nominate for that committee. Thank you.
Thank you. We can have 5 on that, so that's no problem. Your nomination's accepted. Kew Library Redevelopment Steering Committee, we have Councillor Stavrou, Councillor Galt, Councillor Sinfield and Councillor Park. Councillors, do you all confirm your... Thank you.
I might come off that.
Thank you, Councillor Park. So that committee could have 4, is that correct? Right.
I'm happy to nominate.
Councillor Thompson, thank you. Is there any other nominations? No? Well, thank you. That is the 4, unchallenged. Thank you. The Community Disability Advisory Committee, at this stage we just have Councillor Gillies. Is there any other person wishing to nominate?
These ones would be different because they're external, they're not run by us, so that's probably all they can have.
Right. And these are our external advisory committees. So, Councillor Gillies, you're happy to accept? Thank you. The Burundara Stedford Advisory Committee, we have Councillor Watson and Councillor Addis. Are you both happy to maintain your interest? Thank you. The Burundara Community Safety Advisory Committee, we have Councillor Hollingsworth, myself, and Councillor Sinfield. Is there any other nominations? Thank you. Burundara Public Health and Wellbeing, we have Councillor Gillies and Councillor Addis. Are you both happy to support? Thank you. Marketplace Development Fund, at this stage, just Councillor Gillies. Happy to accept, thank you. The Burundara Community Strengthening Grants, we have Councillor Park, Councillor Sinfield and Councillor Bigger, with myself as an alternate. Councillor Park, Sinfield and Bigger, are you happy to accept those? Any other nominations? I am happy to step aside if anyone else would like to be the substitute. No? Thank you. Burundara Arts Advisory Committee. Oh, Councillor Bigger,
Sorry
yes.
to come in a bit late. Did we need 3 for that?
I believe
I clearly have written my name in here, but I'm just wondering. I would like to withdraw from that if that's all right from a time perspective.
Okay. You can withdraw, so 2 and a substitute would be enough. All right, we can have 2 and 1 substitute, thank you. Burundara Arts Advisory Committee, we have Councillor Watson, Councillor Addis, Councillor Thompson, Councillor Stavrou and myself. And again, I'm happy to withdraw. Councillor Sinfield?
Yes, Mayor, just in relation to the last one, I wonder if it may be better to take the word alternate away from your name there, and therefore we would have our 3 councillors needed.
True. Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you. So with the Arts Advisory Committee, is there any other nominations for that? Because I am happy to withdraw. No nominations? We'll leave it as is then, thank you. The Municipal Association of Victoria, the MAV, we have Councillor Watson nominated, and at this stage we don't have a substitute. Councillor Watson, are you happy with that nomination?
I am, thank you, Madam Mayor.
And Councillor Franco, would you like to nominate to be the substitute?
No, I'd like to nominate to be the representative.
Right, okay. So we will now go through a show of hands. Those in support of Councillor Watson, can you please show? Councillor Watson, Councillor Gillies, Councillor Thompson and Councillor Addis. And can I see a show of hands for Councillor Franco? Councillor Park, Councillor Stavrou, Councillor Gold, Councillor Sinfield, Councillor Bigger, Councillor Franco, and myself, because I believe in rotation, I support Councillor Franco as well. That is the majority. Thank you. Councillor Watson, would you like to be the substitute on the MAV?
No, thank you.
Thank you. The next committee is the Metropolitan Waste Management Group Forum. We have Councillor Walt.
Excuse me, Mayor, do we need a substitute?
We can get by without one. So if Councillor Franco's not available, we'll be able to then declare who would fulfil that role in his absence. Thank you. The Metropolitan Waste Management Group Forum, we have Councillor Gold nominated. Is there anyone else that wishes to nominate for that? No nominations. Councillor Gold, are you happy to accept? Thank you. The Metropolitan Transport Forum is where we have no nominations at this stage. Is there anyone that would like to express? Councillor Franco, I can see your name's been put on there. Thank you. And there's no other nominations, so we declare Councillor Franco the representative there. And the Eastern Alliance Greenhouse Action, we have Councillor Gold as the only name at this stage. No other nominations? Councillor Gold, thank you. Burundara Family Violence, Councillor Gillies, you're the only nomination at this stage. You're happy to proceed with that? Thank you. And the Electrify Burundara, we have myself, Councillor Hollingsworth, Councillor Bigger and Councillor Gold. Is there any other nominations? Councillor Franco?
Is there a limit?
I don't believe so. I think we can have up to 4, 5. We can have.
I'll put my name down.
Thank you. And that completes the councillor assignments. Can I ask someone to please move that they accept the assignments that we've just supported? Councillor Park?
Yes, happy to move that.
Thank you. And seconder, Councillor Sinfield?
Happy to.
Thank you. Okay.
And then we'll put it to the vote.
Can I see a show of hands? Thank you. That is unanimous. Thank you.
So make sure you say those in support. So you need to say those in support because they have to know what they're voting for.
Right. I neglected to actually state, can you please have a show of support for that motion? So I need to say those words. Can I ask you please to show your hands again in support? And I see all hands raised, so there is no opposition, so I declare that carried. Thank you. So we are now up to item 6, which is the Council and Committee meeting schedule for 2024. To introduce this report, I call upon the Acting Manager of Governance and Legal. Councillors, are there any questions for officers with regard to the report?
Happy to move
Councillor
the
Park?
motion.
Thank you. And Councillor Thompson?
Happy to second. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I ask for a show of support for that motion, please? And again, all hands are raised. That is unanimous. Thank you.
Yeah, but that's already done, so you have to, yeah.
We are now up to the close of the meeting. This brings us to the end of the agenda for this evening. I congratulate all my councillor colleagues on their appointment to our councillor assignments for the 23-24 year. Thank you to the community, to family and friends for your attendance and watching this evening, and for those that may also be in the gallery. I wish you all well, and before I declare this meeting closed, I would like to just say a heartfelt thank you to Councillor Sinfield, for our Mayor, for her dedicated service over the last 12 months. I know she has just worked above and beyond the call of duty and has committed wholeheartedly to every commitment event and liaised with all representative groups. And I would just like to extend a round of applause and thank Councillor Sinfield for her year. Thank you. Good evening. Thank you.